Well, welcome and happy pre-Sabbath hours to everyone. My name is Ophelia Gherman, and most of you know me when I grew up in this area as Ophelia Pintea. And today I come with my entire family, my husband and my two little boys. So I am so honored to be here with all of you. Many of you are very familiar, and some of you I think I met 5 years ago when we had another health conference here at Moriah Heights. So I'm so happy to see that this health message is still important to the people here in California. I am so surprised at how many advancements you have made here. God has really blessed you. And I know that you all are here because you really think that your health is important, the health of your family, and also the health of your future generations. And so today we are going to be talking about little things. I thought, hey, it's Friday night, and most of us are tired. Let's try to focus on smaller things we can digest, I hope you all had a wonderful week, and I promise I will not keep you here for very long. But I do want to talk to you a little bit about what little things make big impact in our health. We certainly know that whether you're a big person or a little person, we all are made of the basic small structures called cells. And those cells have microscopic molecules and atoms, and we are just so complex. And so if you take a little look at this pyramid, it kind of highlights a little bit of the transition of what we eat, what we drink, what we inhale, what we absorb, how it goes into the organs, then it goes into the tissue that makes up the organs, then it goes into the structure and the cells and the nucleus. And so we're probably going to be focusing a lot around the level of the cell level, cellular level. What happens between here and here? All right? Most of us here, I'm assuming, are vegetarians or vegans, and I applaud you for that because you have made some good choices in your diet to eliminate toxins and unnecessary fats. But today we're going to talk about some other things that can affect our health. To understand how diseases result from toxins and nutritional deficiencies, and how, as a vegetarian, you can even have a nutritional deficiency. Also, we'll touch shortly on how you can test yourself for your own body's nutritional unique needs, and how to apply nutritional therapy to improve your detox process. So, as far as most of all know, there are toxins everywhere in this world. There are toxins in our food, there are toxins in our environment. In fact, the U.S. permits about 84,000 toxins in our products, household food products, food packaging products, and safety testing are just not performed on so many of these. 10,000 chemicals can be found in soaps, lotions, shampoos, shaving creams, cosmetics, so much more. And they're known to cause cancers. They're known to affect reproductive organs. They are known to affect and cause thyroid issues and cancers. But they're just simply allowed. So we all know that we have these basic nutritional needs: carbohydrates, proteins, fats. But we also need 13 essential vitamins, some essential minerals, water, basic stuff like oxygen. I mean, this looks so much simpler than this, Here we're talking about 94,000 toxins, boom, and here we're like, still less than 50. So the body is so simple, and yet it's being bombarded daily in thousands of microscopic ways that we have no idea how to fight against. Let's just take a look at the U.S. aquatic. The U.S. aquatic toxins are just terrible. From the 1970s, Ford spilt in lots of paint, lots of arsenic. In fact, they're still testing arsenic in waters in some places in 2017. They're still present. If you look at this map here, this is of the Sacramento bodies of water, Sacramento River, we have American River. There was a study done in 1998 of the waters here in Sacramento to see how much mercury, how much toxins are in the fish. Are these fish healthy? What's going on? And it turns out that 50% of the fish had higher levels than the Environmental Protection Agency would even allow. 50% more mercury, 30% more PCB or polychlorinated toxins. So our water systems are just chronically toxic and even full of estrogen and hormone-like compounds, things that go in and affect the hormones of your body, that affect your risk for breast cancer or prostate cancer in men. So these are all published evidences that our environment is increasing our risks for all sorts of cancer. How about pesticides, herbicides? We are constantly eating and being exposed to all of these chemicals that we are using to lure off diseases. I don't know about any of you who try to do organic gardening. It's hard. Mother Nature is pretty cruel. And so, with mass marketing and agriculture, herbicides are being produced right and left. How many of you heard of California's lawsuits against Roundup? I mean, millions and billions of dollars are being given away because why? They can't disprove that it's related to non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It's been used, no, it's safe. You can be pregnant and you can use these around your house. No problem. Your kids can just breathe it all in. No, don't do that. Formaldehyde all over our furniture, our carpets, our paints, even our food. Mountain Dew, don't do the dew, has formaldehyde. Fire retardants, our kids, their clothing, they have fire retardants because apparently they are high risk to be inflammable. Why are our kids being bombarded with all of these toxins? Why are they allowed phthalates, BPA? Kids were drinking out of their milk, nurturing milk, and they were being fed this BPA, and then lo and behold, autism is on the rise, all sorts of reproductive system disorders. Kids, young girls, 13, 14, are having reproductive issues. It's all over, and really, we have really inherited a lot of these defects from our parents, and tomorrow we'll talk a little bit about the toxins or the nutritional or diseases that your parents were exposed to and how it's actually affecting you today. So we are really carrying the burden of not just today's toxins, but our previous generation's toxins. How about this? Electromagnetic smog. This is the invisible electromagnetic waves that are produced from all our lovely electronics, our cell phones, our hotspots, our towers all over, things that make it possible to have easy, instant access. I don't want my call to be dropped. I need a new tower in the city, right? We just want easy access, Wi-Fi all around. Well, this is creating an invisible, continuous electric wave that is pulsing through your body. It is much higher than your own body's electrical magnetic field of 100 microvolts. And this chronic exposure is actually being studied to be affecting your immune system, your sleep, causing insomnia. People sleep with their phones right by their bed. They have their laptops, their computers, they have their hotspots, they have their plasma TV. They're constantly surrounded by all of these waves, and insomnia, depression, anxiety, chronic fatigue, allergies. All of these are being studied right now. It's not, definitive, and I think that in a few years we are going to see that this is going to be a big hot topic, because the World Health Organization already has cell phones as possible carcinogen. So it's on there. So if the World Health Organization has classified it, then it's a pretty big deal. They have enough evidence, biological effects, DNA damage, sperm damage causing infertility, neurological, hormonal changes causing birth defects, brain fog, memory problems, fatigue, insomnia, and all sorts of behavioral problems just from the excess of so many electromagnetic smog. So next time you see pollution in the air, that's fearful, but sometimes the things we can't see and don't know are the things we should fear the most, right? So we know that there is this list called Generally Recognized as Safe list. And the FDA is constantly trying to add toxins and chemicals on this list, right? It's to their purpose. So right now they have about 847, and who's counting, chemicals that they want to count as safe. So they can put it in your food, in your drink, in your children's clothes, diets, and all sort of skincare products. Of course, we have the fragrances that are all over, 3,000 chemicals in just fragrances. We have no idea what these fragrances are because they are trade secret ingredients, so they're really not disclosing what they are, so they're not under discretion. So, you don't know. You're just buying some 2-time antibacterial hand soap that has, fragrance. What's wrong with that, 3,000 chemicals right there. So what should be our toxic checklist? Processed foods, anything that comes in a box, anything that's been wrapped in plastic, anything that's come through a factory. I tell my patients the best thing you can do is eat from the ground up. Anything that's gone through a factory has been exposed to heat, has been exposed to mold, to dust, to toxins, to chemicals, and thousands of other ingredients. So, as much as possible, try to avoid that. We also have the heavy metals that are all over, and most of us think if we don't eat fish or meat, we're not, prone to heavy metals, but actually a study from the Czech Republic noted that a group of vegetarians had higher levels of cadmium than non-vegetarians, and that's because they were eating more vegetables that were grown in soil that had high cadmium levels. So there again, the ground that our vegetables are being produced on are completely toxic as well. We've already covered water with all sorts of dioxins, mercury, and other toxins. Of course, environmental smog, pollution from cars, and the electromagnetic smog. And for work exposure, people who are blue-collar workers in working around lead, around metals, breathing in all of these metals and byproducts, this is very harsh on the body. Your DNA is going through changes every day, trying to be strong, trying to fight this. And unless you know what you're being exposed to, knowing is half the battle, and then after that, you make the changes to actually help your body. So that's what I'm going to try to focus on towards the end here. So in order for you to fight off all these toxins that you're being exposed to, you need good, healthy nutrition. And you need to know that you're absorbing this nutrition. So there's a fine line, and we're going to kind of go over some of these. Toxins, nutrition, alimentation, absorption, diseases that block absorption, diseases that are produced by blocked absorption. And here we have it. Inflammation is the number one cause that we're not absorbing our nutrition. Inflammation in our gut. So most of our nutrition is absorbed in the small intestine. So anything that causes inflammation in the small intestine will be a problem. Small intestinal bowel overgrowth is big, SIBO. Our small intestine should not have a high number of bacteria in it. It should have a few, very few number, but if it is just completely lathering and bathing in bacteria, it's going to be full of inflammation and gases, totally unable to absorb the protein and the wonderful organic kale salad that you just ate. Food allergies, another big thing. You know, if you're unaware that you're allergic to certain wheats, certain products, vegetables, fruits, certain proteins, legumes, you're constantly thinking you're eating a healthy lentil burger, but your body isn't quite absorbing all of those proteins. And so we'll further see how that impacts your body's ability to detoxify. The number one cause of nutritional deficiency, of course, is the obesity epidemic. 90% have vitamin D deficiency, 50% have vitamin C deficiency. Obesity is an epidemic worldwide. Of course, in America, it's prevalent. And with obesity, we have all of these other medical problems: blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, inflammatory joint disorders, heartburn, reflux, and hormone imbalance. And so people have to start taking, of course, medication for this. And now these medications then, what are they going to do? Of course they're going to help you, and they're going to bring your blood pressure down, but in the long run, they're going to vitamin deplete you of vitamin B6, D, all of these wonderful vitamins and minerals that then affect enzymes. And so this is kind of the process we're going to travel through. We've already gone through toxins. Now we're going to kind of go through nutrients. We're going to talk a little bit about minerals with the vitamins here. Then we're going to talk about the important enzymes that we really need to detoxify our bodies from the burden of toxins that we're completely exposed to. So nutritional deficiency. Main causes, we're just not eating enough, We're on a diet, or we're depleting our bodies from certain food groups. We're not eating the right amount, and we think that, we're fine the way we are. Enzyme deficiency. So like I said, we're not having the enzymes needed to actually even absorb the nutrients that we're eating. And the big thing is that being nutrient deficient, not having enough vitamin B12, not having enough vitamin A or C or niacin is mimicking exposure of radiation on your DNA. That's how severe it is. So just think like you're walking through, an X-ray machine. Your DNA is constantly absorbing these damages and oxidative stress and all of these powerhouses that your body uses to make energy, like your mitochondria, are being denatured, broken down, and demolished. And so we are constantly we're trying to fight a losing battle. So we really need to understand if we're absorbing our vitamins. And in order to absorb our nutrition, we need, of course, vitamin D, vitamin B12. Vitamin D deficiency is an epidemic. We know that probably 80% of people are vitamin D deficient. It's very important not just for bone health, but for brain, immune system, and even digestion. B12 deficiency is very common. I see it in meat eaters all the time. I mean, insufficient B12 all the time, which leads me to think that, of course, there's high level of inflammation. So in vegetarians or vegans as well, knowing your vitamin B12 level and working with that, making sure that you're not in a state of inflammation and not worsening that state by continuing to be depleted. Iron deficiency, about 20-25% of menstruating women are deficient in iron. And studies have shown that in groups such as athletes or nutritionists, when they study these levels of iodine, magnesium, selenium, they're depleted. They're not getting enough. And that just gives you the idea that our soil is just not healthy. And so we really can't trust the food industry that they have the best interest at heart for us. They don't care about our health. They care about their wealth, right? Their pockets, their interest, their lobbyist. We have to take care of our health, and we have to educate ourselves in order for our health to prosper. So, in order for you to break down your proteins and carbohydrates and fats, we need this buddy right here, and he is a methyl group. He is composed of 4 atoms, 1 carbon, and 3 hydrogens. And this guy right here is going to help you and your DNA, and it's going to help you stay healthy and young and live a free radical life. It needs a bunch of enzymes, needs a bunch of vitamins and minerals, so you really, really have to have good protein as well. And so a good, healthy plant-based protein and supplementation if you're not absorbing. But guess what? If you have a healthy diet and then you add in that sugar, it's gone. So this really is, I really had to sit and think about this, because you think, okay, I just had a kale, spinach, broccoli salad, so I can cheat a little bit, right? And I can have an ice cream or a piece of chocolate. And then there goes all of that methylation, and you've lost all of it. So every little choice counts. Every little Snicker bars that you put in your body gives off radical information to your body, and that just will change your DNA if it constantly happens. So, next time you think of that. So methylation is important because that's how you produce energy, healthy cells. That's how your brain communicates with your whole body through neurotransmitters, and that's how you even produce hormones because it's methylating your DNA. All right, so who is the hero who is the altruistic person that gives off this methyl group? His name is SAMe. SAMe, or S-adenosyl methionine, is produced in your body, in your liver, right here. Your liver is a powerhouse. It is just a strong, powerful organ that you need. And so in order for you to have SAMe, you can't eat it. You can't buy it. I mean, you can buy supplements, but your liver is actually the one that's supposed to make it, so you need a healthy liver. So you need magnesium, B2 complexes here, folic acid in an active methylated form, and this amino acid, betaine. If your SAMe is not functioning, studies have linked it to 3 main disease process: depression, joint problems like osteoarthritis, and liver disease. So that just goes to say that if you have depression, SAMe can methylate you and help you. If you have joint problems, SAMe can come to rescue. If you have liver disease, SAMe can help detoxify your liver. So how do you know if your SAMe is working or not, Well, sometimes you can do it the cheap way, and you can follow your body's instincts and body's symptoms. You can also be tested to see how you're methylating. How is your SAMe levels going? You can test for MTHFR. MTHFR is a methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase enzyme. This is a very important enzyme that you need to actually produce the vitamin B12 from your diet, right? And now, if you have a mutation, which about 70% of the population have a mutation in this enzyme, you are not going to be able to absorb folic acid from your food. And guess where folic acid is found? All the packaged foods. Your children's cereals, your breads, your pastas, your packaged foods have all this synthetic folic acid that if you have this deficiency or mutation, you're not going to be able to absorb. So this folic acid just accumulates in your body with nowhere to go. So for people who have this MTHFR mutation, they need to take a different form of folic acid in their body. That's called activated folic acid. Now again, 50 years ago, your grandparents didn't know about this. They didn't take activated folic acid, right? But 50 years ago, we're now dealing with the choices that they made, the genetic mutations and changes that they've made, the environmental changes that have come about. And so our life and our environment and our years are just so different. So we really are in a totally different world and era, and we need to act, live, and keep up with the times, right? This is just a good example that there are some vitamins, like vitamin A, D, E, and K, that need fat in order to be absorbed. And so, if you're having a nice sweet potato or nice carrot salad or whatever it is, you're not going to absorb as much of the vitamin A or D or E or K if it's not with a nice healthy fat product, okay? So in order for it to be absorbed into your body, it needs fat in your meal. Guess what? Your vitamin A, D, E, and K are going to be transferred to fat droplets in your body. And if you don't have enough vitamin A, you definitely are going to have other mineral deficiencies as well. So vitamin A is good for your eyes, your skin, your brain, so many things. But I just use this as an example because we could definitely be eating the right foods, but not in the right combinations, and that's going to be for our disadvantage and lack of absorption. So we really want to make sure that we're eating properly and making the best benefit from our foods. So now we're going on to the detoxification pathway. There are 3 steps in the detoxification pathway. 1, 2, 3, right? It's easy. Step 1 and step 2 are in our main organ here. Who knows what this is? The liver. That's right. And then the 3rd step is the elimination process that goes through our gut, in our large intestine, in our kidneys. All right, so step 1 requires lots of B-complex vitamins, minerals, amino acids, things that support step 1, milk thistle, vitamin A, vitamin E, and C. Step 2 is a little bit more nutrient dependent and needs more amino acids. So we need to really focus on healthy proteins. And later on, we're going to kind of talk a little bit about what kind of proteins we need. And then step 3 is the elimination process. So we need to eliminate the toxins that our liver is breaking down. How do we eliminate? We need enough water to stimulate our kidneys to eliminate it. We need enough fiber to stimulate our intestines to eliminate that. Unless we do that, it'll just be recycled back through our blood and into our system. Guess where our blood goes? Our brains. And blood goes to all over our bodies. So if we're recycling these toxins It's just going to be a matter of time that we're going to develop diseases of the brain, diseases of the eyes, diseases of the nose, the throat, the heart, the lungs. And it all depends on your genetic predisposition, where your weakest link is. And where your weakest link is that's where the toxins are going to build up, and that's where it's going to affect and manifest in a disease process. So very important to understand how these enzymes work for our bodies. I look at it as, a car. A car needs a key and gas to go someplace, right? But if you have a key and you have gas and you're in a traffic jam, that car isn't going anywhere. That's the same thing with our nutrients. You can have the best organic kale salad in the world. You can have the best non-GMO lentil burger. You can have great nutrition, but if you have a toxic burden, a toxic load that is not going anywhere, that nutrient isn't going anywhere either. So we really need to focus on our detoxification pathway in order to make our nutrients work for us, right? Make our money worth it. This is just a table of how you can test your vitamin levels, so you can have blood work. They can tell you how much magnesium your body needs compared to, somebody else, but based on your metabolic panel. And so knowing how your body works is going to kind of give you some good answers. And I recommend doing this before you're sick. Many times you wait until you're sick to do this. Because what? This is an investment of money. You have to pay a little money, a little extra. Sometimes insurances won't pay for this detailed investigation. But now your insurance, they don't really care. They'll rather pay for, medications than to help you prevent high blood pressure, diabetes, cardiovascular disease. But knowing your nutritional unique fingerprints before you get sick is going to help you. And it might even help your children. So if you find out that you need a little bit more of this vitamin or that protein, well, maybe your children will need the same. And so you're doing them a benefit as well. So let's see, how can we kind of help our body detox? Detoxification is big in this world. We know that intermittent fasting has gained a big popularity. How many of you have heard of intermittent fasting? How many of you have tried intermittent fasting? Good. So it can be done in a very worldly manner, because most people say, oh, easy, I'm going to skip breakfast. I'm going to eat a big lunch, big dinner, and I'm skipping lunch. That's not necessarily the best way to do it, but intermittent fasting in itself has a very good concept. You are allowing your body, your liver, 18 hours or 14, whatever you decide, 14 hours to just detox. You're not giving it any work, you're not giving it proteins, you're not giving it anything else, and it's just using the vitamins that it's stored, and it's helping itself detox. Juicing is really good because you can actually provide your body with water, which is very healthy for the kidneys, and you can also provide it with, things like parsley, cilantro, all sorts of like kale, barley, lemon, chlorella, spirulina, all of those that are kind of heavy metal binders. And you can actually stimulate your liver and help to detox that way. You don't necessarily have to just stop eating for a fast. Even Ellen White says there are different types of fast. You can do a raw fast, a fruit fast. You don't have to just eat nothing or drink water, but definitely you want to stay well hydrated. That's the key thing, because if you're not staying well hydrated, you're not flushing anything, and you're just kind of recycling these toxins. Times not to detoxify are when you're pregnant, so pregnant moms, please do not try to detox of anything. But studies have shown that intermittent fasting helps to improve your body's sugar, cholesterol, and inflammation. So it helps to reduce your overall inflammatory process, and like we saw at the very beginning slide, inflammation is one of the main reasons why your body is not even absorbing nutrients to begin with, and the main cause of diabetes, heart disease, and atherosclerosis, and so much more. So I had to put here that sleep is a very important part of detox, and that's because melatonin is secreted from your brain. If you don't sleep 7 hours, your brain isn't detoxing. Your brain needs to detox, people. We need to get rid of all the things that have gone, the stressors, the negative things, all of the unimportant conversations, all of that needs to be rid of, because our mind just needs to hold on to the positive, the good. And that's when the antioxidants of your brain and the immune system is actually digesting toxins in the brain. If you're not sleeping those 7 hours, they're not digesting, so they're accumulating, and Alzheimer's is just around the corner, knocking on your door at 3 a.m. because he knows you're not sleeping, right? Exercise, very important for detox. It brings your blood flow, your pores are opening, you're just, releasing all of those toxins. Exercise 30 minutes per day as recommended to decrease your risk for heart disease. But I think 30 minutes a day just to detox, because we're bombarded with how many thousands of toxins? 94,000, just off the shelf, and then thousands more from our water systems, thousands more from our air and pollution and everything else. And so how much water do we need in order to flush our bodies out? Half your body weight is the general recommendation, okay? A little bit more if you're working outside. We definitely don't want to drown ourselves in water, but I think it's safer to go over than under. Nutritional guide treatments. Once you get your test back, you can actually direct your nutritional intake, your supplements, your vitamins. Studies show that Americans spend way too much on supplements. They invest on supplements because they don't know which one will help. But if you get yourself tested, you know where you need to head, you'll save yourself thousands in the long run on just supplements that your body doesn't really need. So to close, I kind of was thinking of kind of the spiritual part of all of this. What if there was a spiritual enzyme? A spiritual enzyme that could degrade sin in our life, that could degrade the harsh words or kind of the mean things or negative things that people say to you, that you no longer react because that enzyme just detoxifies, degrades. It's gone. It doesn't affect you. It's no longer with you. You're free. What if there was an enzyme that can give you peace through trials, through tribulations, hope, when all seems to be confusion? What if there was an enzyme that can actually stimulate an enzyme in your friend's life? Because, they don't have that enzyme, so you say, hey, let me give you a hug. Hey, let me talk to you. How was your week? How is things going? Touching, loving, that is the enzyme. And I figured that the enzyme is called love. And I love this quote, and it says, you are the substrate to my enzyme, and nothing could ever denature us. Love is the answer to everything, I don't want to make it too transcendental here, we're not trying to make this into any kind of meditational theory, but love can denature sin in our lives. Love can activate love in your life. And so that's why we're here. That's why we meet together. That's why you come to church every week. It's so that you can help to heal one another of this disease called sin. In this Laodicean time period, when we are lukewarm, it's no wonder that we don't even talk. We don't care about each other. We just text. We're so, faceless. We're so distracted. The physician says, I counsel thee to buy of me gold refined in fire so you may become rich. Rich in what? Rich in spiritual and physical health. White clothes to wear so you can cover your shameful nakedness. And eye salve to put on your eyes so that you can see. So a life that is abundant, that's the topic, abundant life. There is no abundance of life without God. There is no abundance of life disconnected from the vine. There is no abundance of life living for selfishness in this world. A life that is abundant is a life that is transformed, a mind that is transformed in the mind of Christ, because only the mind of Christ can love someone who is unworthy, forgive those who killed him, and save the lost and the sinners who didn't love him first. So, how are we showing one another that we have enough vitamin D? How are we making our heightened serotonin levels because we worship on Sabbath and we rest and we pray? How are we making it shine? How are we making our sugar-free, organic, plant-based diet worth something in eternity? It's the little things that make life big. I wish that we can all focus on not only our physical health, but during this weekend, may the Lord help us to focus on our spiritual health as well, so that we can truly experience abundance of life. Amen.